The college basketball experience summer coaches tour for North Alabama Lions head coach Tony Pujol on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8 challenge. Sign up today using that promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick. First time deposit, offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is loaded up with a ton of picks over for the British Open. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome, everybody, to the college basketball experience summer coaches tour. And the tour is going along full steam ahead. We got another head coach, Division I head coach, join the show. Another ASUN head coach, Tony Pujol of the North Alabama Lions. He has built up that program, done an unbelievable job. And we touch on how he's been able to build it up, building that foundation, building that culture, and being able to put himself and his program in a position to succeed and potentially win the ASUN hopefully next year, headed into year number 7. But first, I am Moneyline Mac, aka the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Oh, almost forgot to hit stop there, but yes, also known as Mac Tonight over here at the college basketball experience. Hope everybody's having a good Thursday. Cheers, everybody. Like I said, Coach Pujol coming on here shortly. North Alabama, little background. So they transitioned from Division II to Division I in 2018. He took the reins, got that program going in the right direction, had to establish a culture. Last 2 years, they've been able to win 15-plus games, including 18 wins in the 22-23 season, get to the CBI. And he's got a lot coming back, which is rare in college basketball. Really excited about his team. I think you guys are going to enjoy this interview. And when we get to November 4th, you're going to keep an eye out for these North Alabama Lions because I think they can make a push here in the ASUN. But first, before we get to that interview, we got to talk about college football because get on over there to the conference previews with the Sports Gambling Podcast. Tune in wherever you can get your podcasts or on that SGPN app. Okay, everybody, it is another edition of the Summer School Coaches Tour with the head coach of the North Alabama Lions, Coach Tony Pujol. And we continue our Summer Coaches Tour on the college basketball experience with the head coach of the North Alabama Lions, Coach Tony Pujol. Coach, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time, Coach. It's been a busy couple months. Just fill the audience what you guys have been up to, you, your staff, and your team.
Yeah, no, we brought in the guys early part of June. Obviously, taking some summer courses and just connecting the veteran, the core guys back again with the new guys, the newcomers that are coming in. They've spent time with us on the court, but they've also been spending time with our strength and conditioning folks. Jacob, Coach JR, like we like to call him, Jacob Reister, our new strength coach, comes to us this year. So everybody's kind of just acclimating, getting used to one another. And I'll tell you, it's been pretty smooth because whenever you have a core of guys like, Will Susi and Jakari Lane and Dallas Howell and, Jamal Albritton, Cannon Jefferson, Blake Floyd, whenever you got guys that have played with you in the past and you can surround them, around the new guys, it kind of speeds things up a little bit. So very, very, very thankful to have those guys around, and very thankful to have the newcomers here as well.
Absolutely. And we'll touch on your team here in a little bit because I know you're super excited for your team coming back. Got a lot coming back, and that's rare in college basketball. But I want to talk about your career a little bit and rewind all the way to the beginning when you played at Sterling in the state of Kansas. But then also you transitioned into a high school basketball coach from there. Back to your playing days, when did you know that you wanted to get into coaching? Because I know everybody wants to play forever, but that's just not realistic.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I got to thank my dad. My dad got me started in a very early age playing baseball. I was playing t-ball at 3, right? So, very early age. My dad played baseball in Cuba as well. So that was kind of like the easy thing. But it was in 6th grade. Coach Billy Long at Carlway Elementary, man, he got me on the court, and I got the bug. And ever since then, man, I've enjoyed playing basketball and baseball throughout my high school and college career. I was a dual sport athlete in college. That from that standpoint, man, I'm just very blessed to have had the right type of people around me that have kind of helped me along through my journey. So, very thankful for them.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about your head coaching tenure in Miami, which at the time you guys had some pretty good coaches coaching in the high school ranks there in Miami during those days, whether it's Frank Martin, Anthony Grant, you can go down Sergio Rocco, you can go down the list, but just talk about that decade of your life of being a head coach at a high school program in the city of Miami.
Hey, before I get started, man, I want to give a shout out to Coach Rocco. Obviously,
Yes.
last night El Salvador beat Guatemala
Yep.
in the pre world. So really excited for him. Was fortunate to be with him last summer when he began the process. So very thankful for him giving me that opportunity to work with him, and very excited for him and what he's doing. But I've always said this. I was around a lot of great people when I began my career. You mentioned Frank Martin. You mentioned Anthony Grant. He was at Central High School in 1992. I began my career that year. So I'm kind of telling on my age here. But Frank really had a tremendous influence, as well as Sergio. But Frank, more importantly, right? He started off at North Miami. When I started off at La Progresiva, a small private school right near Miami High. And then when he took the job at Miami High, I became the head basketball coach at Northwest Christian Academy in North Miami. So we kind of flip-flopped areas, right? But there was a time there, man, where Anthony Grant, myself, and Frank Martin were all head coaches in the same area, which was crazy, right? And our mentor, Shaky Rodriguez, right? What can you say about him? He's kind of like the catalyst, man. He began everything for all of us. He set a standard, especially for us young Cuban coaches, right? Frank and I are both from Cuban descent, and he was a guy that showed us that it's possible, and that's what I tell our guys all the time. That's the biggest impact that they have, right? Is they get to show the future generation that it's possible, man. If you put in the work, it's not always going to be about talent. It's going to be about the choices that you make, right? And like I said, I was just very blessed to be around some really good dudes when I was a high school coach in Miami, Florida for 12 years.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And everybody that watches this show knows I come from the Frank Martin tree, and obviously worked with Coach Rocco at Austin Peay. So those were my guys, and obviously we got some mutual friends. But Coach, from there, you go to be on a Division I assistant coach at App State, VCU, Alabama, multiple stops with Coach Grant that we just talked about, and then Wyoming. Just talk about the different stops before you got to North Alabama and what you took from your bosses along the way.
Yeah, I was fortunate in my last couple of years in high school. We were very very talented. Had a great sophomore group that won a state championship in 2003. Returned back, won back-to-back state championships in 2004, and then I had to make one of the toughest decisions in my career. Had all those guys coming back as seniors. And I got offered the job at Appalachian State, and tough decision, but had to make it, right? So I made the jump. And to me, this is something my dad taught me, right? Wherever you go, make sure you leave the place better than you found it, right? Northwest Christian had never won a state title in any sport, and we were the first ones to get it there. And a lot of that goes to the players that played there. But my proudest moment was after I left. The guy that worked with me for 9 years there, he took the team over, and all those players came back, and they won a third. They three-peated, and I was there, right? As a college coach, I got to recruit a couple of those guys, and I was there to watch them win it all. But then it started at App State, right? I got my first opportunity there under Houston Fancher. The staff was amazing. My associate head coach, Ahmad Smith, had started his career. I started my career there, and the other head coach there was the Matt McMahon, who's now the head coach at LSU. Those are the three assistant coaches that Houston had on his staff, and I was there for 2 years. True story. We get there. We win 19 games. My head coach gets a 6-year extension, and my wife and I buy a house. And then a year later, Anthony Grant at Florida wins a national championship, and Frank Martin calls me early morning. I've been living in my house for 8 months. Calls me about 9 a.m. My wife and I are having coffee. I'll never forget this, on a Saturday, and he calls me up and says, "Hey, Anthony Grant's about to take the job at VCU. He's going to his press conference and wants to hire you. Get in your car, head to Richmond." Like, that was it. And I looked at my wife and I said, "Hey, we're off." And but I can't tell you how thankful I am for Houston Fancher to giving this young Cuban guy from Miami, Florida, an opportunity to coach at the Division I level.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. And then you come to VCU, and which is a really good basketball school. If nobody's been to a game at the Siegel Center, you need to put it on your bucket list. You 100%. Guys kind of got the program going. I mean, and then it led to Shaka, Will Wade, Mike Rhodes, etc. Just talk about VCU and then Alabama eventually with Coach Grant.
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously getting an opportunity to work with Coach Grant was tremendous, and the staff that he put together. He brought in Alan Edwards, who was my boss at Wyoming. He brought in John Brannon. We were the three assistant coaches that worked with him. Brett Nelson was our director of operations. So I mean, it was a heck of a crew, and man, we had a blast. Right? Yeah. I mean, first year we break the CAA record for most wins in the regular season. We went 16-2. We beat Duke in the NCAA tournament that year with Eric Maynard's game-winning shot. I mean, it was just a fun ride. We won the league 3 years in a row, postseason 3 years in a row. Got to play against Drew Holiday at UCLA our last year there, and then after 3 years of winning the league, Coach got an opportunity to go to Alabama, and I was in the mix for a little bit there at VCU. Obviously, they hired a great guy in Shaka Smart, but then I went ahead and joined Coach at Alabama. Was there with him for 5 years, and I mean, if you look at the way he kind of started that run there and got us to the NCAA tournament again, and it was just Coach being Coach, right? He's just a phenomenal leader, and just a great human being.
Absolutely, and he's one of the most respected guys in the coaching industry. He always, like you said, he leaves the place that he took over better than he found it. So you spend some time in Tuscaloosa, you go to Wyoming for a couple of years, but then come and you North Alabama starts calling. So 2018-19 season, you're transitioning into Division I. What was it like taking over a brand new program as they enter Division I?
Yeah, I mean, if nobody's done it, I'm going to tell you right now, it was a challenge, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it for me is my first job was similar, right? I was at a private school in Miami. We didn't have a gym. We had to play in the Boys and Girls Club. So there was some challenges, but the cool thing about it, now that we're looking back at it, and it's 7 years later, right? We're beginning our 7th season here, which is amazing to me that we're at that state. But for me, I remember walking in my first day, and I met the players, and I remember walking into the locker room, and I was blown away. I mean, the facilities at North Alabama obviously was one of the first things that they needed to work on if we're going to make this jump, because obviously the league that we're going into, that league, right? Lipscomb. At that time, we had Liberty was in our league. Florida Gulf Coast had made that run back in 2013, 14, right? Like they were rolling Dunk City, right? But then you also had other programs like Jacksonville and North Florida. Those guys have been there and winning. So we knew going in that there was going to be some work that needed to be done from a recruiting standpoint, but also from a facility standpoint, things that we needed, that we knew to compete in that league. So we knew we had to roll up our sleeves. We had to get to work. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. So here we are, year 1, right? And we begin the season 5-2 in the league. And my RAD walks in and says to me one day, "Man, we can win this thing." I was like, "Okay, hold on." Hold on now. First of all, we hadn't played Liberty and Lipscomb yet, who were basically the powers in our league. But man, he got so excited because we got off to such a great start. But again, I think that goes back to what we said when we first started talking, was it was all about building the culture. It was all about building this whole thing up, right? And whenever you get a blank canvas like we had, that's the fun part, right? So to me, right now, I've been here for 7 years, but man, I'm the first guy. I was the guy that took this thing over. So there's value to what we've built here, and our footprint, our staff, our players, our footprints all over this thing, right? So there's value to that, and I'm extremely proud of the work that's been put in.
And it's been fun to watch. I remember we ran into you. It was Sturge and I at the airport. We were going from bye game to bye game, and you guys were going from bye game to bye game. And if you're at one of those mid majors and it's November and December, you're just trying to get through those bye games so that you can get to league play. But Coach, you took over in 2018. That kind of seems honestly like 20 years ago in itself with the changes in college basketball. You're a culture guy, about building the program the right way, doing things the right way. How have you and your staff been able to navigate these last 3 to 4 years with just the nonstop changes and honestly a lot of uncertainty with the future of college basketball?
Yeah, I think the first thing is exactly what we tell our players every day, Ryan, is you got to take it one day at a time, man. Like there's no way around it, right? Like you're right. The landscape changes hourly, every minute, right? Like a rule pops up and then boom, then all of a sudden, well, wait a minute. No, hold on. So, I mean, to me, I've said this all along. Like I hear some coaches sometimes when I'm talking to them, I hear them talk about the kids. I hear them talking about their parents. I hear them talking about the circle around them, right? And they use the words loyalty and all that, and I get that. Okay, I totally understand that. I'm an old school guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, they've always had that. Okay, the only problem now is that our generation, us, we're the ones that have made the rules.
Yep.
They're all they're doing is, hey, are these the rules? Cool. All right, this is what we'll do then. So I think we have to take some ownership of, our generation has to take a little bit of ownership of what we're doing, because man, all they're doing is they're okay. Am I allowed to? Oh, I'm allowed to get in the portal. I'm allowed to. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see what options I have. As coaches, after every year, we got options, right? Sometimes the guys that win have options. Well, it's hard for me to sit back here and I'm just not that guy. My hypocrisy won't go that far. I mean, if I'm gonna have options, I think our players should have options too, right? So what we talk to our guys constantly about is alignment. That's one thing that we're constantly hitting our guys with, right? Is alignment. Where you're at, do you have all the resources that you need to be successful, right? As much as we want you all to be pros, the bottom line is our responsibility is that you got to get out of here with a degree. Okay. Like that's always going to be because that has the biggest impact in the quality of their life. All right. Basketball, as well as I do, that ball is going to stop bouncing. Right. And when that ball stops bouncing, have you created as a head coach, have you created a place for this young man to have success? And I'm not just talking about his degree. I'm talking about, have you created inroads? Have you created a networking system where they can always kind of lean back on, right? I think that's our job. Our job is to show them that, man, don't go chasing the dollar every time, okay? Yeah. Because money's not going to, when the motivation's gone, money's not going to be enough. It's going to be, where am I? Who are the people I'm with? What am I doing with myself, right? Like that I think is your motivation, is what's my why? Who am I around? Am I inspired every day that I come to work? Okay. All those things have value. All right. So to me, that's what we constantly talk to our guys about. And I talk to our staff about that also.
That's great advice. Your next job is your current job. If you don't do a great job in your current job, then the next one isn't going to come. So coach, let me ask you this. Off season, how you attack it. In season, have you changed a lot over the last 2 to 3 years on just how to approach the off season?
Yeah, I think, one of the things we normally used to do is we used to bring everybody in at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. We bring them in June. Right. This year we did it a little bit different. This year we brought in the newcomers. We brought them in early. And we gave the veterans an extra 10 days back at home.
There you go.
All right. So they love that. Right.
Yeah.
So the newcomers came in. They got all their paperwork done. Obviously, the old dudes, my old dudes don't have to do that. So we gave them a little bit more time with family, and then we kind of got everybody together, sort of like that second week in June, right? And then we began the process. The other thing we did this year, when that June session ended, man, we gave them a little bit of time off. Like we gave them the 4th of July weekend. I think 4th of July this year landed on a Thursday. So they all came to my house right before they left to go home. Right before they left to go home. So we threw a nice little gathering here. Guys were out in the pool, got to hang out for a while. And then they got to go home on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Give them 5 days, right? That doesn't normally happen in the summertime. And then we brought them back. And I just think that what we're doing with the summertime is, obviously, I want them to get in the weight room. I wanted them to meet our new strength coach, Coach JR, who's done a tremendous job with the guys of right now. And I can always tell because of the players. The players will always kind of give you an indication of how these guys are. And Coach JR has done a great job for us. But more importantly, man, I want them to have a blast playing the game, man. Right? It's summertime, right? We know how long our season is, right? So not only am I trying to, or not myself, myself and my staff, not only are we trying to create an environment where these guys are getting better, they're getting stronger. I also want to create an environment of joy, man. Like just enjoy what we do, right? The game itself, the schedule itself creates enough conundrums. It creates enough challenges. It creates enough adversity. I want these guys to have joy when they're out there, man, as much as I can. Now, is adversity not going to hit? Of course it's going to hit, right? So we constantly talk to our guys about, you gotta put yourself in that position when you're a player, that when those voices, which we all have, the voices inside us that tell us, hey, man, maybe not today, or I could skip this, or we got to hardwire ourselves to immediately go into productive action, right? Let me go out and no, I can't do that. I got to go in there. I got to get that workout in. I gotta go in there and get shots up, right? I got to go into practice with the right energy and the right mindset. Like all these things we're constantly talking to our guys about. But when we're in there, yeah, man, we got the music going. We got the energy going. I'm on my staff about making sure the energy's through the roof. So that's it in a nutshell for us.
That's great. And Coach, you've taken a lot of your time. I know you're a busy man. We appreciate you coming on. I want to leave you with one last question. It's kind of open-ended. You're entering year number 7. You guys built a culture. You guys have taken it these last couple of years, sustained some success, got back-to-back winning seasons in the A-Sun. What's your message for North Alabama fans that will watch this with an exciting year on the horizon with a bunch of production coming back?
I'm glad you said that. Tonight at 5:00, I'm going to a coach's caravan right here in town in Sheffield.
Here, you can practice right here.
Yeah, no. So, no, I want our folks to know that they're going to be proud of this group. This group's not only going to come out and compete every day, but it's done a tremendous job this summer already. We've done some community outreach already, so our community understands what we're about. This team is almost like a microcosm of what this community is all about, man. It's a blue collar community, a strong community. It's a community that loves its university, loves the history of this area, right? With the music background and all the things that this area brings. I think this team's not gonna. They are definitely going to be entertained because this team's going to play hard. It's great when you have guys like Jakari Lane returning, DJ Ortiz back, the core of our guys back, people that they know, right? So to me, I think our fans are going to truly enjoy this group, and they've already shown that because right now our ticket sales, all our premier seats are completely sold out. So our folks have already shown us, what we mean to them. So we just got to make sure when we get on that court, man, we're paying it back.
Love it. And I'm excited, man. We're excited to watch you guys this year. Coach, thank you for stopping by the college basketball experience. Best of luck in the A-Sun as you guys look to get to the dance this year and win the A-Sun. We look forward to having you on again, Coach.
Ryan, man, I can't tell you what a privilege it's been to be with you here today. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep. See you.
Coach Tony Pujol of the North Alabama Lions. As you guys can see, unbelievable guy, and really, really good basketball coach too. I'm telling you, you got to check out North Alabama this year in the A-Sun. He takes over the program 2018, coming from the Division II to the Division I. He's there for the transition from D2 to D1. He's got his fingerprints all over this program. They've had 2 solid years the last couple of years. They're knocking on the door. They are knocking on the door to win the A-Sun. The A-Sun is going to be fantastic. I feel like we've had half the A-Sun coaches on already. We love the A-Sun. We are an A-Sun show, A-Sun podcast, and can't wait for the season on November 4th. But most importantly, I want to thank Coach Pujol and North Alabama for finding time to stop by the show. And like I said, man, they got a lot coming back. They got a lot coming back in this day and age in college basketball where not a lot of guys come back. Everybody goes into the portal. You got to replace 10, 11, 12 guys. Coach Pujol's got his core back, including his backcourt back. So look for North Alabama to push for potentially 20 wins next year. Of course, it's hard at that level because you got to play so many bye games to fund your athletic department. But Coach Pujol's got a really, really good group coming back. Real quick, and shout out to the chat. Troy Chudy, my co-host over there at the Big 12 Experience. Go check out. We just did Arizona State right before this, and he's talking about Florida Southern D2. That back in 2013. I think they were in the same league, Florida Southern and North Alabama. And shout out to Timothy Green. Yeah, well said. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, baby. Let's pay some bills, because we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. They just launched their college football best ball product Winner wins $20,000. And Troy and I just talked about it. Troy is going to be giving out a best ball lineup all season long. So get on over there and follow us at the Big 12 College Experience, and go follow Troy on tuning at Troy Tuning. They got the new Pick 8 challenge, but don't miss your chance to try it out today. Sign up using the promo code. You guys have heard me enough on this show. Right above me. Where's it at? I don't know where it's at, apparently. TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. And we are brought to you by Circa Survivor, because Circa Millions is back bigger, better than ever before. 16 million guaranteed in prizes, contests, and pick 5 NFL games, ATS each week, including the Survivor Gauntlet. Sign up in person, and maybe if you can't get over there in person, use the football contest proxy.com to save you $50 off with the promo code SGP. And if you don't have your trip already booked, well, Ryan and Sean will be there August 22nd through 24th. So you're going to want to get out there to meet the guys. And the best sports book in America, Circa Sports, Circa Survivor, Circa Millions. All righty, we are back, and another edition of the Summer Coaches Tour. Go check out, I think this is our 11th or 12th. We got Coach Kuick of the Army Black Knights on tomorrow around lunchtime, and then Sunday night we got Coach Leonard of Queens, another A-Sun school coming on. So talk about their programs, talk about their cultures, and we got 4 or 5 lined up next week as well. I will release. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, because I released our lineup as we get confirmation with their schedules. So you're going to want to subscribe, like, tell a friend. Helps out the channel, helps out the future of this show as we continue to grow. Help us, help you, as we like to say. So go check out the College Football Experience with Colby, all 134 team previews. Noah's doing great work over there at College Baseball. Go check out Troy, myself, and Rush over at the Big 12 Experience. And that's all I got, guys. Enjoy your Thursday evenings. Thank you again to Coach Pujol of the North Alabama Lions, a friend. Obviously, we got a lot of mutual friends. Frank Martin. I'm a Frank Martin guy. Him and Frank grew up being Miami high school coaches together. And Sergio Rocco as well. So shout out to Coach Rocco. This is another edition of my sound bite. There it is. Come on, make it Mac tonight. Mac tonight, signing off over at the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Cheers.